Are NBA games too expensive to attend? So I came across this article and the website was Axios and the data apparently also came from this website called Bookies. So shout out to both of them for putting this data together. But I came across this article talking about the cost of attending an NBA game in 2023. And I thought this was really interesting, so I wanted to talk about it. At the top, I don't know if you can read it, this is the cost for 4 tickets, the cheapest available that they could find. And I believe at the bottom it said this is between December and January tickets. So tickets in March, April, February are not included. So keep that in mind. So December and January tickets. 4 of them, 4 hot dogs, 2 16-ounce alcoholic beverages, and 2 20-ounce sodas, and a parking spot. So we are going to go with their numbers, that they calculated, but I will say in terms of like the parking spot, I don't know how many people, obviously, because I don't know all the people who attend NBA games, but I will at least think that there is a good portion of people who probably don't get a parking spot because it can get really expensive and they'll take a train or a bus or something like that. So we're going to include the parking spot just because it's on here. But I do think that's an expense that a lot of people might avoid. So as you can see here, the New York Knicks are the most expensive. No surprise there. I know it got cut off, the change on the New York Knicks, but that says $745 to attend an NBA game for the New York Knicks. Next on the list is the Warriors at $608.39 per game. Third is the Celtics, fourth is Lakers. No surprise there. The top 4, I'm not surprised. I am kind of surprised that the Nets are 5th. They are in New York, of course, which is an expensive place, but I'm kind of surprised that they are actually 5th on the list. I thought they would have been more like 10 or something on the list, but either way, they are 5th. And then if you go to the other side of the screen, we could see the bottom team is the Hornets. So if you live near the Hornets, congratulations, you get the cheapest tickets. As I move my head to the other side of the screen, so you could see what I want you to see, is that the NBA average, you see it's under the Miami Heat and above the Clippers, between 11 and 12. The NBA average for a cost of the game with all these things included is $304. Now, I don't know if you think, as you're watching this, that's way too expensive. I don't think anybody would say that's too cheap because everybody, if you can get it for cheaper, why not? It doesn't matter how much money you have. The less you can pay for a better quality, whatever it is, that's what you want to do. But comment down below right now, do you think $304 is too expensive for an average, NBA experience? And it also, again, it depends what you're going to do there. Because I will say for me, when I attend NBA games, I don't buy food. I just don't. And obviously, we know the food and beverage prices are insane because it's like that with any sport or any kind of, event where you can't bring food and drink from outside. So that includes concerts and stuff like that because they know that you're going to get thirsty, or most people are going to get thirsty and hungry. And because they have no other option, they have to pay the price. So that's why they can, mark up the prices. And as crazy as we all think the prices are for food and beverages and stuff like that, again, people are going to pay it because they don't have any other choice. And they know this. And that's why they can charge that kind of price. Doesn't mean, we agree with those prices. Doesn't mean people are happy, but they're really thirsty, they're really hungry, and there's nothing else they can do. From a business standpoint, it's so lucrative. Again, I'm not saying it's right. I don't think it's right that people are being charged $15 for a water bottle, but I'm just saying in terms from a business standpoint, it's super lucrative because again, you have no other options. Your other option is to not get a drink or food. And so that's your option, but then you might be thirsty or hungry during the game, and that's, something you have to weigh. Would you rather be thirsty or hungry? Would you rather just pay? It just really depends on the person. I will say though, one little stipulation is that although these are for, games in December and January, there may be a team, I think all the teams will have a bad matchup, so to speak, throughout those 2 months, but there may be a matchup in February that is cheaper. So again, keep that in mind. This is only for 2 months of the year. So there may be a bit cheaper ticket for any one of these teams if you go for February, if you go for March, but it still is a good measurement. I am actually surprised though that the Hawks are 22. I'm surprised they are that low. I would have thought they would have been top 15. Atlanta's a really popular city, and it's not like the team is bad. They have good players. They have Trae Young, they have DeJounte Murray, they have Onyeka Okongwu. If you watch his page, I'm a fan of his. And so they have good players on their team. Like Trey I was about to say Trey Murphy. Trae Young was an all-star. He wasn't last year, but he was an all-star. DeJounte Murray was an all-star alternate, I believe, 2 years ago or something like that. So, like, they have all-star caliber players on their team, and they're still 22, so that's very interesting to me. I don't know if I would say I'm surprised that Denver is 16, but I will say they did just win the NBA championship, and that usually makes your ticket prices and everything else go up. Like, it just does when you win a championship. So, I don't know if I'm surprised or if, like, I feel like that's where they would be, but I don't know where they were last year. Maybe I need to see where they were last year. And if they're in like the same spot, that's actually kind of interesting that they win the championship and they don't really move up. In the article, it also said that prices rose by an average of 5.3% or $16.26. It also said in the article, just for clarification, no Lakers road games, which I don't know why the Lakers road games like were the only ones that weren't included, because like the Lakers obviously have a lot of fans, but they're not the only ones with a lot of fans. Like, obviously, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Warriors, the top four have a lot of fans. So I don't get why their road games are the only ones not included, but I don't know. So that was in there. But they also didn't include Christmas Day games because obviously Christmas Day games are just so expensive because it's a whole thing. So that didn't count. And they also said they excluded January 31st, which was Portland versus Milwaukee, because Damian Lillard is returning to Portland. And so obviously Damian Lillard returning makes the prices go up. With all that being said, do you agree that the NBA is just too expensive to attend? NBA games, rather. Are they too expensive to attend? Again, some of these costs may be reduced based on what you're doing, because you can go by yourself, that's 1 ticket. You could go with one other person, so that's only 2 tickets. If you're paying for, you and the other person, so 2 tickets versus 4 tickets is obviously a lot cheaper. And then depending on if you buy food and beverages or if you don't, that could save a lot of money. A parking spot, versus taking a train or something like that could save you a lot of money. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, like, it depends on what kind of, result you want and what you're going to do at the game. Obviously, people have been complaining about how expensive it is to attend NBA games, especially the ones with the good matchups, because obviously the cheapest matchups are going to be the ones with the teams who aren't that good. Now, for me personally, I love basketball. I love the NBA. So I don't mind watching a matchup even with the bad teams. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I like all the games because there's good players on all the teams and you can have an exciting game wherever. But of course, like, even me who, doesn't mind watching the bad teams, I still would want to see, the really good matchups. Like, who doesn't want to see, for example, Warriors Celtics, a finals rematch? Who doesn't want to see that? But of course, tickets to that game are going to be crazy expensive. And I'm talking about good seats too. I'm not talking about the back row, because remember, they're doing the cheapest ticket available. Obviously, the arenas get filled and people sit in the back row, but obviously someone would want to sit closer. They don't want to sit in the back row. I mean, some people probably do, but like, if you want to get closer, this price only goes up because these are the cheapest available. Can you imagine if you want to sit in like the first level? So let me know in the comments down below what you think about these NBA prices.